Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about our literary terms vocabulary, and I want you to add each one of these vocabulary words and the definitions to the notes section of your notebook. Feel free to stop this video as little as often as you need to. Okay, our first vocabulary word is protagonist. I'm sure most of you know this. It's the leading character, hero, or heroine of a literary work, in this case a drama, and my example for you is Cinderella. The next vocabulary word is antagonist, and that would be your adversary of the protagonist, the one who struggles against, fights against, or opposes the protagonist would be your antagonist. In this example, obviously, the wicked stepmother. Moving into our next term would be the static character. That's a character who remains the same throughout any type of narrative story, what have you. A static character does not develop or change beyond the way in which they are first presented, and this refers to a change on the inside, not necessarily what they look like on the outside. They would not change what they think or what they feel. That's what the change would be referring to. They do not change what they think or feel. An example of static character would be Ursula, the sea witch. She's evil, she stays evil. Even though she does change forms in that story, she does not change her evil ways. The next term is dynamic character, and a great example of a dynamic character is Simba. A dynamic character is one who changes, especially and comes to a major realization, and this is not necessarily a physical change. Yes, Simba does change physically. He grows up in that story, but we're not talking about that change. We're talking about his change of heart, of wanting to come back to the Pride Lands and to be the rightful king of the Pride Lands. Now, let's take a little quiz here. This is Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove, if you've seen that movie, one of my favorites. So, take a moment, feel free to stop and think, and then you can click it back to see whether she is a protagonist or antagonist. And of course she is an antagonist. She is the evil one in the movie. Now, which one is which? You've got Aladdin and Jafar. You have Aladdin as the protagonist, and Jafar is the antagonist. Now, who is the static character here? Looking at the Little Mermaid, Ariel, and Flounder. I didn't really consider Sebastian in this, but between these two, which one is the static character? It is Flounder. Flounder does not change. And we're talking about the inside. Not necessarily talking about the Little Mermaid's ability to have legs versus fins, but her change on the inside. Now, which one is dynamic and which one is static? Rapunzel is dynamic. She changes. She realizes that she does not have to stay in the tower, that she can go out and pursue her dreams. The world is going to be a rough and dangerous place, but she can take care of herself. That's her realization. That is her change. Her quote-unquote mother would be the static character, who does not change, who remains evil and does not come to any realization in the story. Now, let's decide who is the protagonist and who is the antagonist. Gothel is the antagonist and Rapunzel is the protagonist. Very good. Now let's move on to characterization. That is the art of creating a character, or how a character is presented through dialogue, thoughts, actions, and etc. These actions, what is presented to you, helps us know what kind of people these characters are. Are they going to be gloomy, confident, anxious, angry, sad, depressed, happy, excited, vivacious? It depends on how they're presented. So we have to look at, what does the character do? They're going to feel things, they're going to hear, say, think things. Other characters are going to react to them, and that's going to give them character traits. You're going to remember characterization, how to figure out characterization through the acronym STEAL, and that stands for what the character says, thinks, the effects on others, their actions, and their looks. So just like if you had a new student walk to the door to join your class today, you would immediately be able to identify their character traits through what they say, possibly if you could figure out what they're thinking, their effects on others, their actions, and their looks. So if that person comes in, they're well dressed, they're very polite, they say thank you, yes ma'am, they go sit down, they raise their hand, you are going to obviously be able to characterize that person. Now, if they come to the door and they have pants hanging down and they're smacking on gum and their hair's all a mess and they're coming in loud and they bust open the door, you're going to have different thoughts about that person. So that's the same thing an author does, but they have to do it through the written word, and that would be dialogue and the different actions of the story. And in a story, an author might use direct characterization, where the character traits are directly stated, where they tell you specifically what the character is like. For example, the patient boy and quiet girl were both well-mannered and did not disobey their mother. So obviously we know boy is patient, girl is quiet. We have those character traits given. In the next example, Peter is an intelligent 16-year-old student. We are given the character trait. He's intelligent. Then the author can go on and give us dialogue and actions and the way the character looks and thinks, behind the scenes details that will support us knowing that this character is intelligent. Indirect characterization is mainly through those STEAL traits that we just talked about. What does the character say? What does the character think? All of these are revealed to us through their thoughts, their effects on others, their actions, and their looks. And the author has to show us the character traits rather than just flat out tell. Take a moment and look at this, read this paragraph to yourself. Okay, now that you've read the paragraph, I want you to think about the STEAL elements. We don't have any words, specific words, so there is nothing that Julie says here. But what is she thinking? We know that she is really wanting to impress Trent with what she wears. We also know that she is pondering which outfit would go best with her shoes. So she's really considering that and thinking about that. Her effect on others, well, she's hoping that Trent's going to like what she wears and is going to like her. Her actions, well, obviously she spent 90 minutes working on her outfit and calling people to find out what she should wear and get advice on that. And then her looks, well, yeah, we can go back to the pastel eyeshadow, the diamond earrings, and then we also know about her overflowing vanity, where she's got obviously way more than just a pair of diamond earrings. She's got a lot of stuff because it's overflowing. So all of this adds up to her being a very nervous, anxious, possibly even excited person who is wanting to impress this boy named Trent. Now I want you to try it. I want you to read mentor text number 1, and then I want you to identify and write down the who is the protagonist, and to the best of your ability pick the protagonist, and who is the antagonist. That should be clear. Then set up a steel graphic organizer, and I want you to complete all of the elements that you can. You might not get something for every one of those letters, but complete the graphic organizer for the character Mrs. Starch.